Oh, good. Oh, good. Wait,
Welcome
how do
everybody to another
Hey.
rousing edition of Curses, also maybe vampires, with the artistic stylings of this fucked up group. I'll be your host, DM Misha, pulling my hair out and thinking of exactly how many mimics I should throw at the party. On the
As
la-
long as the closet isn't a mimic, I'm fine.
And that was the point when Arthur realized it was extremely warm and humid in the closet he had stepped in, and his paws felt exceptionally squishy. He looked down, only to see the teeth, retractable, now slowly rising from the mouth of the portal he had locked himself in. Reaching for the doorknob, he is greeted by a tendril of drool dropping from above, and grasping it, he realizes that it squishes on this side, a fleshy tendril wrapping around his arm and securing him there as he howls in terror, slowly being consumed by the closet. Looks like he's never actually coming out.
Oh, we
Okay,
were
I'm gonna
very
get
interested
my
what they
dice
would come
down.
out as.
Oh my gosh.
The end.
You even drew the teeth.
We love you, DM Misha.
I love you too. I am going to practice tough love.
No.
Shh, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll drink water, I
Don't
promise.
need blood. Anyway, there's a bathtub of it in the other room. You'll be
I'll
fine.
drink water, I promise.
Are you getting cute with me, sir? Okay. Guys out there, just so you know, in the world out there, viewers, if I have any, this is not that kind of stream. I promise. I'm supposed to be the DM that runs the PG ones so that nobody has to be uncomfortable by unwanted sexual advances. The fuck? Good job, Vaughn. Ruining it for everyone. Totally appreciate that. I love you, but I'm gonna hurt you. And not the way you want.
Oh no, not the pussycat!
Oh no.
I'm gonna make him purr, alright. Purr in absolute terror. Anyway. Anyway, when we last left off our heroes, Arthur locked himself in a closet and had a panic attack thinking it was a mimic for no apparent reason. And then the rest of the party was trying to see if they could find a nice spot to lay down and rest in this seemingly safe-ish room that they are in. And it is at that point they heard a click, and the music box that is currently right here on the vanity opened up, and a small, tiny dancer clicked upwards and began to dance slowly and artfully as music filled the room.
Uh-huh.
What is my party doing?
Recovering.
And Arthur, hear it from the closet.
Can Arthur what now?
Hear the music box from the closet, from inside the closet.
It is very light, but you can certainly hear it.
Yeah, Ollie's gonna go ahead and just investigate. What be the boo? What be the do?
Alrighty.
I should probably
So,
also go where
but does that mean you're going over to the music box?
Yes, if I knew where it was.
It is right here.
Then yes. Doo-doo-doo.
So, Ollie makes his way carefully over to the music box, peering at it and inspecting it carefully. And, he doesn't seem to see anything too out of towards about it. It's made of a delicate gold that has been burnished with age. There's a thin green patina around the legs where it touches the desk, the wood of which is scored with ages. The small figurine inside of it and the plush red velvet of the interior are perhaps the only thing that time has not touched. This seems to be the first time it's opened in near eons. The small dancing figure there seems to be a small ballerina clad all in black. Her dress far longer than usual, a sweeping sort of gothic velour to it as she spins slowly, body dipping this way and that, but it seems purely mechanical in nature. And there's also a glitter inside the music box that she is dancing in, because it is also a jewelry box.
Ooh.
Right. So, Ollie is gonna squint at the music box, right? And just whisper softly at it. It's not the time of month you get back where you came from.
There appears to be no reaction from the music box, which continues to whir and play its soft, tinkling, tinny sort of music.
And then Ollie's gonna try to close it. Or stop it.
You reach out and you grasp the tiny ballerina, and you can feel the gears kicking up a fuss between your fingers, and it makes a sort of grinding sound. Um, and you can hear a sort of click click click, and it makes a sort of screechy noise because you are holding it in place. And the gears are grinding against each other, trying to complete their circuit, but are unable to do so as you hold the tiny ballerina captive. And then, should you choose to close the music box, you'll be able to do so. It kind of rattles a bit as the gears fight that, and the clasp, as part of the safety, pops up again, so it does reopen itself. And after a few more slow passes, unless halted again by your fingers, the ballerina will complete its circuit. The music will fade to tinny nothing, and it will just be there, open on the desk.
Well, clearly something has happened in the past to have shaken Ollie so much that he picks up the music box and smashes it with a hammer on the ground.
So, Holly, everybody watches as Ollie picks up this beautiful decorative music box, turns to face the room as a whole, and then raises his arms up and hurls it bodily at the ground. There's a horrendous crash and cracking sound as the music box shatters and several pieces of shiny jewelry go rolling or bouncing across the floor.
And you see Ollie just standing there with his hands in a clawed fashion, just huffing and
You know, in any other situation, I'd say that was an overreaction. But we are in a murderous house that you've apparently been trapped in for a long time, so have at it. Smash some stuff. Go wild.
We also did just stab this tiger rug, so yeah.
Yeah. Seems fair to me.
I'll grab one of the jewelry pieces that just fell out from it.
Okie dokie. So, Kira, you reached down first, it looks like. So what you pick up is 2 gold rings. And you find near you, Nicholas, another gold ring and what looks like a necklace made of thin, delicate, almost lace-like platinum. And there is a topaz set dead in the center in the shape of what looks like a single teardrop, shining with a beautiful internal flame. It also looks like the pieces of the smashed jewel box might have been worth quite a bit, but now they are just pieces of golden filigree.
Did you say the internal flame? It's like carved to have a internal flame, or is there an actual flame in
If
there?
you've ever seen a topaz before, if the light hits it just right, especially from the fire that's right near you, it looks
so
like
it's
it's glowing
natural.
inside with fire. But it's a
So it's
regular
natural.
topaz, yeah.
Okay.
A very nice, very large topaz.
Ollie doesn't look regretful, even a little bit. But Yeah. Now Ollie looks at Kira and in response to the "you gonna stash that," shakes his head and says, "No. In fact, I want nothing more to do with that. Actually, we should probably leave this room if there's nothing else to address about it."
There's a bed in here. I thought we were gonna take naps.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to. I thought we were trying to rest. Considering we can't for sure say this room is safe, we can set up a watch if need be.
That was before the music box started, playing by itself. But fine, if you want to sleep here, that's up to you.
Is there anyone here to see if that music box had any magical nature to it? I'm unfortunately unable to do so myself.
I think.
Nothing check.
So anybody who's proficient in Arcana would be able to make a check to see if the music box was magical in any way.
I have detect magic.
That's cool too.
And yep, I can ritual cast. Okay. Gon's like, sure, give me a few minutes. By the way, are those windows? Can we?
Yeah.
Those are indeed windows.
Maybe we could try and make our exit after this. I don't really want to hang around longer than necessary.
While Gon begins ritual casting, I would like to look out the window and see if I see anything.
Alright, go ahead and make me a perception check. And with a 12, Ollie, you don't see anything magical about that music box. At least not anymore.
Yep. So Ollie just kind of wanders over here and starts looking through dressers and stuff, I guess.
You find some very moldy old clothes.
And I roll a 12 on perception, which is also my passive.
Okay. So you peer out and you can't even see the other houses that are around this house that you're in right now. It is nothing but a wall of creeping mist. As you look closer, you think you might see faces in it here and there. Just the vaguest impressions of a sneering mouth or a piercing gaze. But before it fades into the mist themselves, and you're not entirely sure if you're just making it up with your imagination given the situation.
Do these windows open at all? Are they sliding, or do they open inward or outward?
These windows are actually very decorative and made of a stained glass material. They do not appear to have a way to open.
So in Barovia, the windows don't open at all. Got it.
Windows open you!
Let's hope they don't!
Wait till you see what the doors can do.
And that's how I broke the entire party.
I'm not awake enough for fourth wall shit yet.
Are we ever awake enough for fourth wall shit?
For a guy, like many guys, if not all of them, that idolizes Ryan Reynolds, I'm going to do as much fourth wall shittery as possible.
Yeah, that's just you, bro.
I'm terrified. Alright,
Always sit on the bed.
Alright, so Ollie, he looked through the drawers over there. You found, in the first bureau, you found men's clothing. In the second, you found women's clothing, all of which appear to be extremely old, some of which actually start disintegrating at your touch. Kira, you look around under the bed, and as you're bending down to peer beneath the dark, skirted edge of the bed itself, you see a large, round, fuzzy object rolling towards you. And it's a dust bunny, disturbed by Ollie on the other side, who had kind of kicked the skirt with his feet and created a puff of air to blow it in your direction.
Holy shit, I thought it was a spider. That's okay then.
I thought that was its
no,
nose
just a
to
rat.
answer you. I thought that was its nose, not a mustache.
You sure? Because I'm pretty sure when you...
His name
That
is
was good
Eduardo!
It's a nose!
Okay.
Come on.
Is this a
That
secret
was
door?
before we. Yeah, I was making my way over that way as well.
Sorry.
Yes, that
My
is a
stylus
door.
didn't work, and my mouse skills were. My trackpad drawing skills are horrendous. But it's a
Bef-
mouse.
Before checking the door, is there anything unusual about this table and chairs?
So there seems to be a tea set there. It looks very beautiful, very ornate, possibly made of silver. There is a small plate that has some kind of black and greenish desiccated, might have at one time been a biscuit on it. And there are two cups that look as though they may have once contained liquid of some kind. But they have left a sort of brownish reddish ring along the interior of the cup itself, a little bit of mold growing here and there.
Can I roll some kind of check to see how long that's
Yes,
been there, like
that'd
with
be a
mold and
survival
whatnot?
check. That'd be a survival
Survival.
check or a nature check. Either one would probably help you to determine exactly how old an item is.
Nature is my better one, and it still sucked.
Nope. You don't really deal with mold that much. You're not really sure how old the mold is.
So it's old enough for mold, which I may even be like less than a week.
Yeah, you don't really deal with mold that much. Sometimes you can tell things like based on how much dust there is or something. But everything in here looks old. Not sure how long, but old.
Okay, I'll make my way towards the door with Kira.
All right, this door itself is also made of a beautiful stained glass material. You see upon it a beautiful windmill. And
Going to pull out my war pick and ready an attack for anything that jumps at us to the door.
okay,
I have my glaive at the ready as well.
all right. So ready.
Arthur kind
You're
of
being smart.
quietly opens the door and peeks out and says, hopefully in a startling voice, does anybody need any help with anything? Kind of pulled himself together.
You see Ollie sprawled face down on the bed over there, just like mourning his life. What's Gon doing, by the way?
I'm detecting magic.
Oh, that's
It
right.
takes
As
10
a
minutes.
ritual.
10 minutes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And you see Nicholas and you see Kira poised to attack a beautiful stained glass door with a windmill on it.
And I will push or pull the door open if it's unlocked.
Or slide it.
Improving a force like it opens outwards, and with a click, it does indeed open. And you are seeing, let's see, do I have that real? No, let's find out. You are seeing a sort of balcony.
Wow.
Can we tell?
Hi, Stacy.
Sup, Stacy? Thanks for watching.
Can we tell? Can I tell about how high up we are? I know we went up to the third floor, or
Perception
seemingly
check.
the third floor. Perception is a 14.
Okie dokie. So you step out onto this balcony, and the mists are swirling all around you. It's a little disconcerting because it's like you're in a pocket of almost clear air where you are on the balcony itself, but as soon as you hit the railing, the mists are like a white wall between you and the rest of the world. They are dark, they are swirling, and looking into them, you could swear you see something looking back at you. They make no move to attack you. The wisps do not come over the railing or anything like that, but they are swirling just beyond it, and the closer you get, the more frenzied you see the swirls.
I take a step back, but I reach into, I guess, a pocket or a pouch that I have, and throw like some dried jerky or some sort of ration out, like toss it into the mist, see if I hear anything or see anything.
He was just gonna walk out of the room with a like nope look on his face.
So you take the jerky and you toss it over the edge of the iron wrought balcony. It vanishes from view into the devouring mists, and for a time you hear nothing at all. And then you hear.
Okay, I think Arthur is going to join.
You're
Back
welcome,
away.
Goblin. Don't come fuck
Back
with
away.
us or we'll kill you.
Nicholas?
And I'll go back into the house.
You hear behind you the scrambling of clawed paws against wood as you go back inside and hopefully shut the door.
Okay. One of your canine friends seems to be. Some of your canine friends seems to be out there,
Um,
just like they were when we got in.
um,
And I do
don't.
indeed close the door.
Right.
Well, that sounded horrifying. What did you do?
I just tossed a piece of dried jerky out there because there's these swirling, like, kind of disembodied faces. And when I did, there was this bestial, like,
Think so?
uh, bestial sound just going at the piece of jerky, presumably that I tossed out there.
Yeah,
Well, I had
horrifying.
mistaken it for a goblin, but considering what we saw coming in here and the like sounds of like scratching paws, it's probably wolf-like or other beast-like creatures that chased us in here.
You
Or it's the house messing with you.
while you're
Again.
talking, you hear yelping in caninely pain outside.
That does not bother
Can
me at all.
Arthur understand
Here.
that
Um,
more than anybody else?
you know that it sounded like someone of the canine persuasion in a great deal of pain.
Mm.
Don't you dare open that fucking door.
Okay, but it's good boy.
We didn't know it went outside, and now we do.
um,
And barring the door with any of the furniture here in here will be useless because the furniture will just replace itself. If this is anything like the first floor.
I'm going.
can I see through the glass of the door?
You can see through the glass of the door. There doesn't appear to be anything on the balcony. Wherever the sound came from, it was not the balcony itself, but it was from outside.
Oh
And I
dear.
think that'll take up my 10 minutes during this ritual cast. I don't know about everyone else.
I think by now Gan has successfully cast Detect Magic.
Ding.
As you do so, you don't you don't sense anything as far as a spell that's been cast, but you do feel a extremely strong aura of necrotic energy that's not just centered anywhere in the room specific, but seems to be all around you. Unlike the paladins, it's not going to hit you with such a wave of visceral force, but it does kind of blind your eyes a little bit as you're looking at things. Everything seems to have sort of a greenish or a purple haze over it, very putrid, very sickly. And Ollie shines brightest of all, as does Nicholas.
Interesting.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What was that last bit?
I said Ollie and Nicholas shine rather brightly with a necrotic energy.
Oh, even with detect
Mm.
magic? Interesting.
Arthur's gonna go and just do a quick check outside for himself. Check where the sound is coming from of the distressed canines.
Go ahead and roll me a go ahead and roll me a perception check, Arthur. So you're not exactly sure where the sound itself came from, but as you go over towards the edge, you notice that there are some deep claw-like scratch marks that may have been from some kind of massive paws that are in the wood of the decking beneath your feet, and the railing there, bent, is slowly popping itself back into place. And some of the decorative spires that are along the top of it in that particular area seem to have sharpened themselves and were previously pointed outward, and are now slowly popping themselves back into a more decorative position, as if their defensive one was no longer needed.
Interesting.
There's also quite a bit of red upon them.
So they were defending the house from something from the outside.
That seems to be the
It
case.
seems. Okay. What does the mist feel like if I reach out into it with one hand, one arm?
All right,
Just
so
kind of trying to. Like if you try to fan away some smoke or mist.
So you reach out into the mist with your fluffy gauntleted arm and you swirl it around a bit, trying to make a hole to peer through, and it feels cold. So cold it almost hurts, really. The chill seeping through even your glorious fluffy fur to bite into flesh. And the longer you keep it there, heck, even into bone, it almost feels like your hand is going numb with the cold.
Okay, I'm gonna draw back my hand and can I kind of I would like to try to communicate with whatever tried to attack the house. Like if they try to get in, they might be friendly. If the house didn't want them to get in.
Okay. What do you do to try to communicate?
I guess shouting into the mist would be weird, but I don't think I carry paper or something to write on.
So you want to just bark into the mist?
Yeah. Howl into the mist.
All right, Arthur, go ahead and howl.
Werewolves of Barovia.
Oh,
Oh, hon, you have
That
no
was
idea.
perfect.
Oh, that's so good. Yes. Oh boy. All right, so you howl into the mist. Everybody can hear you howling into the mist in that room, by the way. Whether they choose to do anything about it is up to them.
Yeah, I
I
guess
hear-
Ollie's gonna go over and be like, what the fuck?
Do I hear any answer?
You wait a couple of minutes, enough time for Ollie to come over and say his piece, listening.
What are you doing?
The balustrade seems to have repelled an attack on the house. I'm trying to see if there are some friendly entities out there who might help us.
Oh,
And
friendly.
I point to the now
Friendly.
repaired.
Yeah, friendly, like the things that chased you in here, trying to eat your faces. Apparently, from what I hear.
Were we chased? We didn't really.
Did I confuse campaigns again?
No.
We followed children in.
What?
Yeah. We were tricked inside by our good hearts.
From
Which
other
makes-
people.
Well, I
Arthur
believe
feel guilty.
I believe one of you saw bad things.
Yeah.
Was Gan outside
no.
with the children? Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this one was where the children were outside and then they somehow appeared inside.
No.
So I think I'm
No.
confusing campaigns.
It might be me. Anyway, Ollie clarifies there have been so many people that came into this house before, and they all died. You know why? Because they get chased in here by bullshit.
It's at that moment that you hear a snuffling sound. It's a deep sniffing noise near where Arthur is standing. And Arthur, you actually see the mist swirling and ballooning upwards as if forced by a large puff of air.
Hello?
Boop the snoot.
Then identify yourself. It kind of steps half a step back.
You hear a deep, rumbling growl. And it's decently familiar. I believe you heard it only a few hours prior on the walk.
Ollie's just gonna stare at Arthur and slowly back into the room.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Kind of close the door and pull that armchair against it. We learned one thing.
Against the stained glass door, good job.
I mean, it's something. We learned one thing at least.
Not to do that?
House isn't working with the scary, growly things outside.
Great.
I'm so reassured.
I mean, it was working with the ghost children thingies.
So let me put it
looking
to you
up
this way.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. Let me put it to you this way. Have you ever watched a fly struggle in a spider's web? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is kind of like that, except instead of web, you don't realize you're in. It's more like bait, I suppose. Imagine the spider decided to use bait, and the fly was like, "Ooh, there's a nice piece of whatever the hell flies eat. I don't know." And
Yes.
anyway, what I'm trying to say is, quit fucking with paranormal. And then Ollie's gonna go back and sit on the bed.
Arthur is kind of folding in on himself guiltily because he was the one who chased down the crying children in the first place.
Poor Arthur.
Just like,
Ollie's just gonna sit on the bed and huff and fold his arms.
What was Nicholas saying that he wanted to do?
Is this a book or is this just a random thing on the bed that's not
It is
actually
indeed
there?
a book. As you approach it and look upon it, it appears to be extremely old and falling apart.
Is there any way that I can delicately like candle it without destroying it or read it?
Try to use sleight of hand to pick it up.
Not awful, but not great. Oh,
Really
there
good.
we go.
So you manage to delicately pluck the book up, and with just 2 clawed digits, just the very tips of your claws, are able to turn the moldering pages without damaging them any further. What languages do you know again?
Let me see. I don't think much. Common and undercommon. That's it.
Okie dokie. Well,
Oh, I
it's in.
think I'm supposed to have one other as well.
I think you are too. But it is in common. That was a stupid question. Anyway, it does appear to be in common, and you start to read the book. It'll take some time for you to suss it out, so you'll have to be reading for a little bit. What are the rest of you guys doing while he's reading the book?
Is this door closed?
You did close the door behind you, yes.
Alright, I'll just stand guard, I guess, in front of it.
Okie dokie. I know Kira
And
says...
or ready to flee the room if necessary, but, you know, who can tell with Gon?
I know Kira said that he wanted to take a long nap. Ollie is flopping down on the bed too. Arthur, what are you doing?
He's sitting in the armchair and kind of nodding off from being so tired. So yeah, long rest would be nice.
Alright.
Also, it is just those two languages. I don't know any others.
Okie dokie. And Gon, you said you wanted to stand watch?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you go ahead and stand watch. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. Everybody else is taking their long rest, and Nicholas is looking at a book while he's doing it. You don't necessarily have to sleep during a long rest. You just have to be
Oops.
relaxing.
No +2, that's guidance.
Oopsie. Well, a 12. I'll keep that in mind. So Gon is just like leaning against the doors, just watching them furtively, listening for anything that could be going on, glancing over at the other door that's barricaded over where Arthur is. The windows every once in a while get a skittering glance, and everybody else kind of lays down and tries to relax. Nicholas is looking through the book. It takes you about 15 to 30 minutes before you realize what is in this book. It is a very, what's the word I'm looking? Descriptive? It's a very descriptive tale about a strong, muscular, fluffy werewolf man and his estranged female companion who
Fabio!
steals away from her village after it comes under attack by other ethereal forces, and she tames the savage beast within. And yeah, there's a couple of gaps in the saucier passages, but you get the gist. Its title appears to be Of Fur and Fang.
Yes. I was trying to think of like what titles could I ask if it is that or that not. Okay.
Volume 1.
Oh gosh.
Of Fur and Fang. Alright then. After reading through and realizing what it is,
By the way, Ollie, you know what book that is because it was here the last time you were in this room, if you remember correctly.
Ollie.
He's asleep.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, he is asleep. You don't know he's reading that. Never mind.
Um. Uh. I will probably actually take one of the bed covers, if there are bed covers. I mean, pillow covers.
Okie doke. Yep, there are pillow covers, pillowcases.
Or pillowcases, thank you.
Mhm.
Take one of the pillowcases off the pillows and put the book inside and wrap it up nicely. And stash it up in a bag so that it doesn't get any further damage until I can find someone to repair it, if possible.
Okay. Okay.
It's not for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. You do
Actually,
that.
isn't.
You do that. You have done that. It has been done.
I know it's risky and may kill me, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like interspecies relationships are always pretty dangerous, man. I know.
Oh my god.
God damn it. he might think this out loud. He was like, huh. Sebastian may actually enjoy this whenever I do return. As I am wrapping it up.
I got that reference, and I'm going to hurt you for it.
It's not the reference that you think it is.
Yeah, it is.
um, what is everyone else doing?
Well,
Oh,
the
Sleeping.
the
Or
next four
long
the,
resting?
the next 4 hours passed pretty uneventfully. You have a couple of scares there gone where there's a floorboard creaking, or you thought you heard a pitter patter of footsteps overhead, but you quickly dismiss it as just your own nerves. And by the end of about 4 hours, you're looking good. Do you want to continue for another 4 hours of watch, or would you like to tap somebody else so that you can get a rest too?
Yeah. Hey guys, it's been 4 hours. Is anyone else gonna have a turn? Oh,
Uh,
wakey
Arthur
wakey.
immediately sits up, like his ears flick alertness. Yes, of course, of course.
Thought you
Sure.
guys, we usually do 1 hour watches every other party I've seen. My turn.
For long rests, usually you have one person looking for an extended period of time. So that way everybody can get like 8 hours. Somebody does a 4 hour watch, and then somebody else does a 4 hour watch, and then somebody else does a 4 hour watch. That way everybody gets enough sleep.
Oh, I've always had it be like 1 or 2 and we rotate.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, 2 hours usually.
Ah.
Mhm.
I guess we have had different party experiences. I do apologize.
No worries, I just assume everyone else was sleeping and Gon's just like, hello? Is anyone gonna take over?
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
um,
Yeah, I believe with
does Kira want to take over, or Arthur is
I got it.
probably going to insist?
I can take care of it. You need to sleep. You got hurt pretty bad earlier. And then Kira shoos him away. Go lay down.
Thank
Be
you.
a good boy.
Thank you. You see his tail flick, kind of trying to wag and stop mid-wagging. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, Kira, if you're taking up the mantle, go ahead and roll me a perception check. Gon, are you settling down for a nap as well, or are you doing anything else before you rest?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out in this chair.
Sounds good. Go ahead and you kip out in that chair. Arthur goes back to his chair. And, ooh, a 20. Lovely. So, you definitely, while you are on watch, Kira, hear a number of odd things. At one point, you think you hear a slight scratching at the door, but if you were to look, there's nothing out there. Another point in time, you are quite certain you hear heavy creaking footsteps going across the ceiling just above your head and stopping almost exactly, you think, overhead of where you are standing, and then continuing onwards in a hurried fashion. And you are quite positive that every now and again you can hear panting at the door coming from the gap just slightly beneath of it. It is not a very restful watch for you. But those 4 hours pass uneventfully. Nothing happens. Do you wish to wake somebody else up to take a turn at watch and so you can get your full 8 hours, or did you want to keep watching?
I'll just keep watching. It's fine.
Okie doke.
You can pass on watch to Arthur. He had his 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
it's
up to
fine.
Kira.
He'll just let you.
3
let
of
you
us
all
had a
sleep.
full 8 hours.
That's up to Kira.
I may even be waking up if we have a full rest now.
You
Just
you
naturally.
you in particular do, because you've been sleeping for 8 hours. So Ollie, Nicholas, and Arthur have had a full rest by now. Which means they can go ahead and put your points back up to maximum, and if you have expended any spell slots, they are back now.
Don't have spells yet.
Unfortunate.
Baby paladins are really baby.
You do have lay on hands charges, though, correct?
Yeah, I recharged those.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Nicholas, you wake up, you see Kira still keeping watch.
Arthur checks on the door.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check, Arthur.
It's persuasion, perception. Hello?
So, you peer out, and you see that the mists themselves have crept up a little bit more onto the balcony and are kind of pouring over the edges of the decorative iron balustrade in a sort of waterfall of swirling mist that pools in sort of a writhing way against the worn wood of the balcony there. And as you're looking, you swear you see a spectral hand rise up out of the mist before smacking against the stained glass window right in front of your peering snoot and then vanishing with an audible psh.
Arthur startles minutely and then turns to the others. Um, maybe after Gon has rested and you too, Kira, you should rest. Then we should hurry and move on. I think the mist is getting closer.
Okay, I guess.
Was
He'll
this
go and
door
sit back
open?
down where he was.
You had shut the doors. They are stained glass doors, so you can see out of them. But you had shut the doors.
Okay. Peering through the glass door, the stained glass, what do I see?
Perception. So
Arthur.
Digital dice, and I have real dice I want to roll.
it's very dim outside, but you can see the hallway that you had previously exited. You don't see the body of the armor anymore. It appears to be completely vanished.
Okay,
That's right.
but it's not back in its place. It's completely gone.
Mm-hmm. You also don't see any blood pooled around the door to the bathroom anymore.
That's good too. Love cleaning house. Perfect. Arthur takes
Curious.
up watch.
Curious things seem to reset in this house one way or another. I open up the closet and kind of ask Arthur if the closet looks any different.
As you open up the closet, you see the light glint on metal as you see the collapsed and corroded body of an armored suit.
That wasn't there before.
So familiar.
I figured, considering this may be the thing we defeated, either yesterday or last night, whatever time of day it is. Or yesterday or this morning. Blech.
You watch as blood begins to trickle from the helm of the armored figure as it remains unmoving within the closet, slowly sliding down its armored features to drip, drip.
What kind of helmet is it?
It is an open-faced helm, one with the visor crooked and dented, rising up. There is a portion at the top that looks like it could have had a plume or a feather in it at one point, long gone since then. There appears to be nothing within the armor, but the blood continues to bubble up. Trip.
Using my glaive, I try to like pick up the helmet from its visor with the blade end. See if there's like any perceivable source of this blood.
Okay, you reach out with your blade and slide it into the open hole of the visor and start to lift it off. And as you do,
Assuming the blade of the glaive is wide enough for the helmet to not slide down the shaft.
I don't think it would slide down the shaft. You reach in and you lift it up with the blade. There's a little bit of a struggle before it pops off with a grating creak, and as it does so, a veritable wave of blood just pours down the neck, rushing and gushing to start spreading throughout the closet, creeping slowly towards your feet. And there appears to be nothing underneath the helmet at all, and the blood seems to be bubbling up from within.
Lovely, empty suit
Did we
of
give
armor
the
that
closet the
bleeds.
bathroom treatment?
Sure.
Arthur
I'll
kind
close
of
the
digs
door.
out his bit of candle and prepares to close any leaking holes of the closet door might present.
You grab Tony the tiger and shove it up against the door.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll clog the bottom of the doorway with the tiger skin.
So you grab the tiger skin, you clog the bottom of the door with it, and you shove wax into the keyhole of the door itself, right next to the mirror that you were near, and you're just frantically barricading the door.
At this point, Ollie is awake, staring at them, and just slides to the edge of the bed and just gets up and slowly walks towards the door.
Arthur kind of looks up mid stuffing the keyhole. It wasn't our fault, I promise. It wasn't my fault, I promise.
Ollie just holds up a finger and goes to open the door.
Arthur kind of stops mid-speech with his mouth open. And then kind of hunkers down.
I don't want to know.
It was just an armored guy we defeated before our arrest. It was just an armored guy. With no body.
Great. And then
oh, you said you didn't want to know. My bad.
Yeah, Ollie's gonna leave.
Okay. Ollie steps out into the hallway.
Don't wander off too far, or you'll probably die again if you said you've died in this house however many times.
Yeah, what else is new? Ollie says this in a very bitter tone.
Please don't leave. Let's wait for the others to have their rest as well, and then we should stick together.
If it was just... If it wasn't for Gon, I would actually not mind searching the rest of the house, but there's quite helpful when need be.
You want the spell slot, you gotta wait.
It's no more of whatever that was, and Ollie just gestures towards the closet and goes to sit on the bed again.
Does it look like we intend to open it again?
I don't know. I didn't think you were gonna open the door to the outside, but nah.
The tiger's fur is looking more vibrantly orange, possibly blood orange.
Well, isn't it smart to secure an area before you rest in it? That's what we were doing.
We secured it before. I was inside that closet. There was nothing in it.
Good thing you didn't rest in there.
If that's one thing I can attest to in this, it's if you do have somebody with you, you probably don't want to lose sight of them.
And you nearly just left the rest of the party, so maybe take your own advice.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter if I die, though, because I've already done it so many times. Now does it?
You were the one leaving on your own.
And then Ollie just sighs heavily and kind of hangs their head in their hands.
Nicholas is very clearly a difficult person.
I love how the dog is patting people. This is a complete role reversal.
Dog knows. The dog knows all the best patting places.
That's true. He's like scratching behind Ollie's ears. It's great.
Ollie doesn't really react or respond, but it's probably appreciated since he's not snapping back in a knee fashion.
There. All right. So, the rest of your time passes as uneventfully as one can hope for, with a spreading red stain on a tiger rug. But you don't hear anything from within the closet, which is hope-inspiring. It's about near the end of the rest, about the same time that Gon gains their last spell slot back, that everybody needs to make a perception check.
Including
Real
Gon?
dice. Let's roll real dice.
Including Gon.
Alrighty.
Oh, I think that's a 10 for me. I'll type it out. Yep.
Ow! Quit clowning me, UK! Go lay down!
Nope. So everybody but Nicholas, who is engrossed in trying to read the book while it's still inside the pillowcase without alerting anybody else to what exactly it is, hears a soft, weak, yet terrified sound of a baby crying.
Ollie immediately sits up. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Arthur's ears prick up immediately and he goes, should we? Or it's like the children again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a ghost baby. It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna bite our faces off.
What's
Either way,
going
we need
on?
to get out of this room. We've been here too long.
What happened to the tiger rug? What did you guys... You know what?
Don't
Oh,
open that door.
Yeah, I
The
don't.
suit of armor we fought before resting somehow ended up in there and started bleeding.
Here,
So we
looks
gave
at
it
the door.
bathtub treatment of.
I'm sorry, it's probably my fault. I'm sorry.
He looks
Arthur's
at the
like
door, and
immediately
then he
takes
looks
the
back
blame.
to the exit.
Do I recognize what holy symbol is on your armor?
That would be a religion check.
Mine?
Mm-hmm.
That would
See.
be a religion check for Nicholas to see if he
Because
can recognize
this is the second time, and I'm not letting this joke pass a second time.
it. That'll be a religion check, Nicholas.
Ooh, sweet. Unnatural 20. Yep, unnatural 20.
Plus,
Well, yeah, 19 plus 1.
okie doke. Yes, you know who this
It's
is.
Ilmathers. Well,
I'm sorry?
Arthur isn't wearing an insignia on his armor, but he has a red kind of string bracelet around his.
If the symbol is observable,
Yeah,
holy symbol or signia or whatever.
it's Ilmatis.
I don't know anything about that. Do I? Well,
Well,
player
Nicholas
don't know
does.
anything about it.
He's all about sacrifice and doing good. A very self-sacrificial way.
What are the followers called?
I
for
have
him?
no idea. I'm not actually good at D&D religion.
I don't believe that the followers have any specific names. There may be some orders that work more closely with him than others. But the followers in general of him do not have a specified name.
Can you spell out God?
Ilmatar, I think.
Yep.
Elmatar. Interesting.
Ilmater, apparently.
Elmater.
I'm just checking the
Looks like
the
it's
wiki.
based off of real God or something. I
A
don't
lot of gods in 5e are based off of real gods, and or some variant of them.
know. It looks like the what word do I want to use? Sorry. Well, the appropriate term of looked like Christian school really did well for your self-confidence.
Seminary school. Seminary school.
Seminary,
is the
thank you.
word you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Looks like seminary school did very well for your self-confidence.
Arthur kind of like opens his mouth to speak and goes at it like twice, 3 times and doesn't know what to say that wouldn't be rude or offending, like telling Nicholas off, because that's the whole point, that he doesn't want to Nicholas to get into trouble. So he just ends up going like with a tiny whine, kind of folding in on himself again. His ears droop, his tail droops, and he just...
All right. All right, look. Why don't we get going and
Yes.
ignore all of this that Ollie says as they gonna pick Arthur up by the shoulder and just like, come on.
Do I hear now the baby?
Yes. As you approach the door, the sound gets louder.
So it's coming from the other side of the door?
It's coming from somewhere beyond the door of the room that you're currently in.
I'll open the door then, since we're probably gonna have to anyways.
I hate it.
You open the door onto a darkened balcony, the one that you left behind earlier in the fight. There are no more signs of struggle or of previous battle. The blood that had pooled around the bathroom door is gone. The door still remains shut, of course, and you do see the wax that had been shoved into it has been taken out, neatly made into a blood-soaked candle upon the floor, and has been lit.
Oh gosh. It's worse. That's somehow worse.
And so inviting, too. You also hear the sound of the baby echoing a little bit louder as you step out into the hallway. It seems...
Arthur walks to the candle with purpose and snuffs it out with a grip of his hand. No.
You snuff out the candle. A moment passes. It relights.
Yeah, that's it. I'm goodbye.
Yeah.
Ollie goes to squeeze past.
No.
As you...
I'm actually going to check out this door, considering what Ali said the previous day, that this house changes each day to day.
Okay.
And just take a peek inside if it's unlocked.
So you reach out, your hand closes over the warm handle of the door, And you click. And you peer inside. It is the bathroom once more. The bathtub itself is still filled to the brim with a dark, brackish, reddish substance. And there are stains covering the floor that look like handprints and footprints leading to the door, covering the back of the door that you've just opened, and the walls all around the bathroom.
Was there anything else that I can perceive in this room, or?
That would be more of an investigation check if you want to see anything past what's kind of out in the
No.
open. You'd have to go inside of it to do that, though.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling really investigating it that closely. Well, the tub is still full of blood or something similar to blood, but it's not overspilling. And I'll close the door.
Mhm.
Ignorance is bliss for the others.
And looks like...
Arthur's going to. Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just about to say that what you had typed.
Yeah, Arthur is checking the walls because he no longer trusts doors.
All right, go ahead and roll me an investigation check.
Investigation. Oh, decent. Good.
All right, so you are sniffing and snuffling along the walls, feeling them with the pads of your clawed digits, just searching. You can see that there are quite a number of intricate carvings in these walls. Look like satyrs capering about with a bunch of boys and girls, and you realize after a time that their faces, which you thought were merely capricious and full of grinning silliness, are quite malicious, and that a couple of the girls and boys that they have caught hold of are being rent asunder as they're being pulled limb from limb. And as you reach about here, and your paw touches on a very odd-looking tree that's curled and gnarled with age that appears to stand out from the rest, there's a click and a as the wall opens up
Ooh.
to reveal a darkened secret staircase. And
Well,
also a
there you
door
go.
directly across from you on the other side of the door that you have opened, as well as the staircase leading upward.
Ollie kind of snaps his attention in that direction and just slowly ambles over and leans in like, what did you find there, bud? Kinda. Yeah.
And you all left Kira behind.
Yep.
I'm following.
Didn't move your token.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think I may have found the attic.
The stairs indeed do seem to lead slightly upward to a small landing, and you can just make out another set of stairs that curve off the landing and lead further up along the passage. And there's also directly in front of you what looks like a small door that possibly opens outwards.
And
Yeah,
you see
Arthur is not going to touch any more doors.
Yeah,
Never
which
going anywhere.
direction is the baby crying coming from?
Perception for that. See if you can figure that out.
Sure.
Yeah, if
Ollie
the crying
seems
is
to-
persisting, I would also be
No.
trying to figure out where it's coming from.
Okay, then Nicholas can roll perception as well.
Yeah, if it's like non-stop crying.
It is non-stop crying.
Arthur
Ollie
kind
seems
of
to
just
visibly relax.
Oh,
subconsciously.
I have no clue. I rolled a natural 1 on perception
Oh.
for a 3.
Nobody knows where the baby noise is coming from.
Arthur kind of subconsciously assumes it comes from upstairs because the children said that the baby was upstairs in the attic. And
They
that's
said
why we were
upstairs.
trying
They
to
never
get...
said attic.
Oh, I said attic? Okay.
They never said they were in the attic. They did say they were the baby was upstairs, though.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't on these upstairs.
So you guys are
Okay.
headed
You
up the
also
staircase?
skipped a floor.
Well,
You did.
Arthur is ready to head up if nobody else wants to stay behind.
Ollie
I'm not
seems
staying behind.
a bit
Yeah.
more relaxed knowing it's going up and not down, so yeah, Ollie's gonna go.
Alrighty, so you guys start heading up there, and one moment.
New map.
Ooh,
New map, who
no ways
does?
to kill us.
Oh,
No
dang.
ways.
Alright, big.
I can only see the stairs yet.
That's where you are right now, so yes. That's all you get.
Bring our characters in.
Yep, hold on one moment. Oh, you're already doing it, never mind.
Yep, that's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
we can do it. Arthur leading the charge. He's gonna draw his sword and kind of look behind him, check if everybody's ready. And when they are, he's gonna open the door.
Okie, hold on one moment.
With one ear, kind of listen for noises or sounds from behind it.
Alrighty. So, let's see here. 1 moment, if you please. There we go. Alright, so you make your way up to the door, and
Hmm?
you notice that there are chains wrapped around this door. Many of them. Secured to several bolts in both the door and the wall around it. A giant padlock sits dead center.
Does it look like it needs picking, or does it look like a good bang might break it apart? Like, does it look old?
It looks old, but it looks solid.
Okay. Is anybody who can pick a lock?
Ollie kind of scooches up to the front. Me.
Really do need to learn how to do that myself one day.
Alright, Ollie, you take out your thieves' tools. And you go ahead and roll me your check with your thieves' tools.
Oh, can I give guidance?
You don't need to. It's like riding a bike. Even after decades of being meaninglessly slaughtered every day, you remember how to pick a lock. It's just a click to the left, and then a swish to the right.
Take it back now, y'all.
And soon enough, with a groaning, ominous grrr, that padlock springs open, and the chains begin to fall one by one to the floor in a deafening, bumbling sort of crash. And you are standing in front of an unlocked attic door.
And you hear Ollie just mumbling the entire time that hide the broom closet counter and
Do the
puts a lock
chains
on the
look
kitchen
like
counter.
something we can gather up?
I mean, if you want to carry around about 100 pounds of chains, sure.
Maybe not 100 pounds.
And then
About how many feet of chains is it?
Oh, it's a lot of chains. If you were to stretch it out, you'd say it's at least 50 feet of chains.
Darn.
Okay.
yeah,
Whoever
Ollie's gonna
locked this door wanted it to stay locked.
yeah, for that reason, Ollie's not gonna open the door, but is gonna glance behind and just furrow his brows and be like, you sure about this?
If it's trying to keep us out, it might not be a bad idea to go in there.
It might have been keeping something in.
Very true. But let's be
I'll
positive. Let's think positive.
go ahead.
Uh,
Keep a little bit back, just in case.
yeah. Ollie's gonna
Gotcha.
let Arthur take the front because Arthur's wearing, clankety clank clank.
Yeah. He's like the
All right, Arthur.
What
right?
is stuff?
You reach out and you grasp the handle of the door. It fights you a little bit, as though it hasn't been opened in decades. But eventually, with a rusty creak from the hinges, it opens into a dim, darkened hallway choked with cobwebs and dust. The only light comes faintly from a single window directly in front of you, as though the chill morning sun were trying to break through the layers of miasma that surround this house.
On the one hand, it seems to be morning. On the other hand, I can't see any trouble ahead. You can kind of hear the very careful optimism in Arthur's voice, but the hint of, and that might be worse than seeing something dangerous.
Yeah. Why don't we... And then Ollie's gonna immediately look around for some sort of fuckery.
Same.
Alrighty.
Kind of making
Yeah.
room so the others can get in.
And I'd be kind of casing or scanning the room.
After we take the walls again.
Alright. So, Arthur, you roll investigation since you're getting up close and personal. The rest of you, are you investigating or
Nope.
percepting?
Percepting, and I rolled a 9.
Percepting once I get my game to load back up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, why is the map white? I don't understand what's going on. And I went to refresh it, and Roll20 was like, Roll20 has failed. And then it was like, DNS probe failed.
Oh, goody!
Trying to get it to come back up now, and it's being really super slow.
Ooh, there we go, gone.
Yeah.
Natural 19.
Aw, yeah. Alright, so the first thing that Ollie and Gon notice as they are looking around is that most of the doors here, while old, look as though they are just regular normal doors, except for this one right here, which has had several boards nailed over it.
I'm gonna go ahead and say we don't open that one.
Which one, sorry?
This one right here.
Oh, one in the middle,
Ollie,
okay.
Ollie points.
Arthur kind of looks over, gets distracted from the walls, and says, on the other hand, it seems, well, whenever the house is welcoming, it seems to spare danger. Maybe we should especially go that way? You can hear he's just grasping for straws, like he's really trying to find logic where there is none.
I'd actually agree with that sentiment, or that mentality.
And then you
Some
see
kind of
Ollie outstretch
person.
their hand toward the door and be like, "Be my guest."
Very well. And Nicholas will go right up to it. What does he have? No, he'll just try to pry the boards off with his glaive then.
Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
Strength is a +2 for me, so let's see. And the roll is 16. So 18 total.
Ollie glances down at the crowbar that he has in his bag and doesn't say anything.
We're good. We're strengthy fellas.
Yeah, it's fine. He's doing fine.
What was your roll again, Nicholas?
60.
There.
Oh, there you are.
18.
18. All right, so you take a crowbar to it and you start snap, crackling, and popping these lovely boards off the door. Some of them are worm rotted from time. You see a beetle here and there come scurrying out as you cast them onto the floor. And pretty soon you have removed enough of the boards that you would be able to open the door. So you reach out with your hand to grasp the handle, and it's locked. Amazement. Pikachu face.
Seems like this is your alley. Ollie. That was unintentional, actually. I
Ollie's
was like,
alley.
oh, wait a minute.
It's brilliant.
That was very unintentional.
Sounds like something from Harry Potter.
Ollie's alley.
Ollie squats down, takes out the tools, and goes to work. The scene's a little distracted, but not that distracted.
Not distracted enough. So you go to work on this door, and with a click and it opens slightly inwards. It was a far easier lock than the padlock that you just knocked out of the park.
Yeah, that seems more like, a house lock, not a keep out at all costs lock. Anyway, go ahead.
Arthur kind of looks at Nicholas. You want to, or should I?
I'll go ahead this time. You took the point coming up here. And then
Anything
Who
tries
has
to
my
face, don't say I didn't warn you. Just say
Who has my blessing currently?
I don't believe you recast it on anyone.
For the
No.
initiative, I used it yesterday. Well,
I'll pop it back on
game
Nicholas then.
yesterday. Okay.
I'll just be like, go ahead then. Lead the way and pat
Is
you on the
that
back.
advantage or a bonus?
It's advantage on initiative.
Cool. And then, if does it open out like inward to the room we're about to go in?
It opens inward.
God.
Okay, so poking, like pushing the door open, since Ollie like opened it like from the latch, but didn't swing the door open. I'll push the door open with my weapon.
Okie dokie. So you push it open slowly with your weapon, peering inside to see
Bodies.
a very small room with a bricked up window. There are two beds to either side of it, both of which appear to be ransacked and are dirty with both age and the dust and cobwebs that cover them. There is a small toy chest to your right as soon as you enter the room, and a beautiful, intricately carved house that, even with its age, looks absolutely masterful to your left as you are appearing inside. And there, in the very center of the room, clutching hold of each other, clinging as if for dear life, are two small skeletons covered in very familiar yet desiccated and ratty clothing. One of them is clutching a small doll.
And what did you say was to my left?
There is a small toy house.
Oh, toy house. Okay.
Yep, very intricately carved. Actually, kind of looks like the outside of the house you walked into.
I mean, Disney references can we fit in a session? 1, 2, smash!
No.
I was referencing a very old commercial. How many licks does it take to get to the center?
I'm gonna wreck it!
Sorry. The whip may never know. Okay, go.
Stepping further in with my weapon still ready, anything possibly animating. What makes these two skeletals familiar for? Oh,
the children.
Well, these are the children that we saw, aren't they? Or at least their clothing.
They do look very familiar.
Would
least-
they seemingly be the same clothing that the children were wearing outside of the house?
Yes, in fact, the exact same pajamas that they had been wearing when you spotted them.
Welcome back.
Is there any signs of what killed them or how long they've been here?
That would be a medicine check.
I have no bonus on that. Where is my die?
Ollie's gonna investigate the room in general and see if there's been any signs of recent activity besides them. Nah, never mind. Too gross. Nasty. Ew.
You are too freaked out by the sight of those very familiar skeletons, for this room appears exactly like it was the last time you were in it.
Wait, he was in there before? I thought he'd never been this high up before.
He's only been this high up once before.
Yeah, he might not have told the entire truth, and you can kind of maybe tell this by the fact he like glances at the skeletons once, turns white as a sheet, and then kind of just doesn't look at them again.
I'll look over to probably Arthur or anyone kind of open question. Is there anyone that can perhaps tell how long these bodies have been here, or if they died of natural causes of, well, starving to death or actually being attacked by something?
Well, you could just ask.
Oh my god!
I turn around with my weapon pointed at them. And who are you?
It's the
That is
With my
very
weapon
rude to
actually like
ask.
right in their face.
Mhm.
Because reach.
So, the little girl stands, much as you saw her outside, on her bed with her arms crossed, glaring at you disapprovingly. On the other bed, a depression in it that looked like a lump in the mattress resolves itself into a smaller figure of her brother, clutching a spectral version of his doll, and not saying anything as he peers out from beneath a hooded cape at you. Rose steps off the bed and directly into your sword. It is now through her as she stands staring at you in your eyes. What do you mean? You are the one in our bedroom. I think you should be answering our questions. Yes? Yes.
Being that my weapon is completely useless, I'll just like put it upright next to me holding it in one arm or one hand. So, did we ask the children's names before we came in? Rose sounds familiar to me, but I can't say for certain since I'm in 2 campaigns.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I believe Gan had asked their names, and Arthur.
Okay. Well, pardon our intrusion, but weren't it the 2 of you in a much more seemingly corporeal form that invited us in here, asking for help?
Rose rolls her eyes. No, that wasn't us. That was the house. It does that. It's really mean, comes the smaller piping voice on the other bed. And then Rose kind of narrows her eyes and peers past you, Nicholas, and frowns. Don't I know you?
Ollie just waves the hand in a dismissing manner and doesn't say a fucking word.
Here's gonna block the doorway.
Okay.
Arthur kind of steps closer to Rose and asks, perhaps you could help us or give us some information about this house?
And why should I do that? He has been very rude to me. And she points at Nicholas.
I am so sorry about that. Perhaps we could do you a favor in return for your help. I'm very sorry we disturbed you here, but... And he kind of glances behind him at the bones. He was planning on covering them with the ratty sheets from the beds, but now that there are children on the sheets, it's mute point. And he's not sure what to do next.
Rose's lower lip sticks out in a bit of a obstinate pout as she proceeds to cross her legs, sitting crisscross applesauce in the middle of the air as she floats and bobs there in front of you. What will you give me if I answer your questions? I am very bored. It is very boring here. We've been here a very long time.
Do you know how long?
She shrugs.
Look.
You haven't told me what you will give me yet. I will not tell you.
I can show you a card trick.
She arches a brow as you roll persuasion.
I have nothing.
Let me look at
It's the
my
worst.
things. Do I have
Level
anything?
1, I have nothing.
I may have something.
Card trick? I want to see, says the smaller boy.
He steps around the corpses and comes into the center of the room. And he pulls out his cards and makes them, does like, you know, the magician tricks where it's like, pick a card, and then he magically pulls a card out of the deck. I don't know how they work. I don't remember.
The little boy starts to clap excitedly, which is really odd because you can hear the clapping sound even though you can see parts of his hands passing through each other as he's doing it. And the girl tries not to smile, but her pout eases a little bit. That was fun, but it is only momentary distraction, of course. You understand that we would be wanting something a little bit better than silly cards.
How about
So just realized that I do have proficiencies in thieves' tools. Sorry.
Ollie finally speaks, and it's just to say, how about the ability to finally pass on?
She loses her pouty look and dead stares at you. Someone offered that to us once before. It did not come to pass. They did not come back. They died. They always die.
Yeah.
How's about a warm blanket? Keep you warm, I guess?
Do
He
I
was like,
look
"Dude,
like I am needing to worry about frostbite? She puts her hand through her chest.
Hold on. And while he's doing this, you gotta imagine he's doing like a Jack Sparrow, like, you know, the hands wriggling fingers, like while he's like gesturing towards them. But yeah.
Arthur takes to one knee in a sort of swearing an oath pose and says, "Upon my honor, I promise you, I will not rest, not even in death, until I set you both free. Please help us in turn."
She looks at you very seriously. These are not lands you should swear such oaths. It is very dangerous to do so.
I am
But I
honor
will-
bound to help the helpless. And you can kind of see that he's a bit scared, but has found something he's more comfortable with, more familiar with.
Go ahead and roll persuasion on that.
I was about to add to it. Not very much in the way that Arthur is, but I don't know if I could aid by doing this.
I don't think you
Uh,
need to, but also add it
oh,
anyway.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, I didn't even see the roll till now. I was gonna say like, well, I may not be the one to speak of honor, but we have mutually this would be mutually beneficial, for we are trying to get out of this house, which is preventing us from leaving, and by helping you pass may help us reach that goal. So you know we will actually try our hardest to do it, whether honor bound or not.
We will take you up on this offer, but if you fail, and Rose gets all up in Nicholas's face, you will be taking us out of here, one way or another.
Right then.
You should go to the library. Yes, my brother is correct. You will find answers there.
Where is this library you speak of?
It is downstairs on second floor, across from ballroom.
Great.
And
Okay.
she floats over to the dollhouse and opens it up and points to a room on the second floor.
I'm gonna, like, even though I respond, I do want to roll a sense motive on the boy saying to, and, oh, both of the children,
Go for it.
see if there's any kind of ill intent.
And I want to check out the
No, I
house
don't know.
and kind of study it.
What's my bonus on that? My bonus, insight is a 2, so I have a total of 7.
Yeah, you have
Nice
no
then.
idea. It's hard to tell with their faces are transparent like that, so.
I want to look at the little dollhouse.
Okay.
Like,
Me too.
while they're
Go ahead
got
and
it open.
roll investigation.
Yeah, that's.
It's a natural 20 at least.
-1.
So,
It's a
Kira,
natural 20.
Kira, you look at the dollhouse and you see that it appears to be almost exactly like the house that you are in right now. At least all of the rooms that you've physically been in look intricately exactly like what you've seen already. And then there are a couple of other rooms on each level, doors that you didn't go through before, that there are also physical examples of. And and Ollie makes his way away. And as you're looking through it, you notice the top floor that you're on right now seems to have somewhere the start of a spiral staircase that goes down, down, and down through the house itself with no other openings. And as you sight that, every one of you, including Ollie, hears a loud as something has changed about the house.
I want to divine sense the toy house.
Okay. You use Divine Sense and the entire room lights up. Go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw. Oh,
Arthur is
man.
kind of busy trying to study and learn, like memorize the dollhouse. And when he senses Kira doing the devices, he kind of puts out his arm in preparation to catch him.
Alrighty.
6 times the arm.
It's just like, okay,
Yeah.
we have this down to a routine by now.
2 very clearly undead entities are in this room, and you do that.
Four undead entities. Well, 3 actually. One's
Yeah,
outside the room.
Well, he knows he knows that, but I think the only one that doesn't know is gone yet.
Yep.
I heard nothing.
Oh, well, that was a see
But
anyway.
that's what I mean. 2 children are very clearly undead
Mhm.
entities.
So you are filled with an overwhelming sense of necrotic energy from all around you. It is emanating most strongly from the 2 ghost children that are standing there, from the cat behind you, fainter from beyond the door there, and from the tiny doll house that you are standing in front of. There is an overwhelming stench of necrotic energy. You feel as though it's reaching for you, sinking into your pores, leeching your strength as your legs wobble and then give way as you fall gracefully into the arms of the goodest boy.
After I recollect myself, I'll point at the toy house and be like, I think this is what's keeping us here.
The house itself, no shit.
The toy house. You imbecile.
I'm not certain it's so simple, unfortunately.
It's not the dollhouse. Ollie calls in the room.
What do you know? You've been stuck.
Oh my god.
How do you think I got stuck here?
Okay, I have this biggest urge to just break off a tiny bit from the house somewhere that is perceptible for us right now and see if the actual house changes. On the other hand, the goodest boy would never hurt a pretty house like that.
Maybe the goodest boy wouldn't, but Kira appears to want to.
Break it somewhere
I'm
we
gonna
can see.
I'm gonna ask the ghosty boy about it. What do you know about this house? Because I'm picking up some pretty serious stuff from it, and
I got it for my birthday before I died.
Delightful.
I feel like
It was last present mother and father bothered to give us. And she says it bitterly.
I feel like this is what's keeping us here.
I don't think so, but you do you. She puts her hands up.
Can I do an experiment on it? You won't get upset?
If you can fix it after, I won't get upset. It is only thing we really have to play with in here.
Okay. And then Kira will reach into it and tear the door off of the room that they're in.
Right.
Inside of it.
So you reach out and you grasp the door and you yank it off, and there is a snap, and then there is a and you watch as the entire dollhouse collapses into nothing but kindling.
Oh!
What did you do? That was my birthday present!
You saw I barely touched it.
And Thorn
It's okay.
immediately just begins wailing at the top of his lungs, just crying.
It's okay. It's okay. When we get out of here, I'll buy you a brand new one.
You big jerk! And she's going to fly directly at you, and I am going to need you to make a... Hold on one moment.
Can Arthur, as a reaction, step in her way, kind of shield Kira?
He can do that. So that means you're gonna be making it. Let's see. Can you make me a Christmas saving throw?
A Christmas save? A what?
Yeah.
Charisma. Or Christmas. Who needs Halloween? It's Christmas now.
Okay, so you feel the ghost sink into you, and briefly you have a flash of utmost anger, of a need to be in charge of the situation. And you turn to Kira, and you open your mouth, your ears pricked forward, one finger upright, prepared to berate him on the spot. And then the feeling fades, and you're yourself again as Rose pops back out the other side because she failed the possession. And she lands on the floor, half sinking into it before standing up and brushing herself off, hands going through as she stares at you in frustration. You should have let me give him what he deserves for breaking our things.
Arthur kind of reaches out and tries to pat her on the shoulder.
It's
And
like,
tries
Lean
not
my
to
head
go,
over,
not to have
peering
his
in,
hand
like,
go through her shoulder too much, and goes, I'm sorry, but please don't do that again.
I would have leaned my head, peering in, like, I wouldn't have stopped you, but you hated me. But understandable.
Yeah.
Shut up, Nicholas. You're not helping.
neither of you
Well,
are helping.
you are our meat shield, so that would have actually helped.
I will try to make you a new one.
I
Like one
want
that's not
my
gonna fall apart whenever
dollhouse.
it gets touched.
Don't things fix themselves when we leave the room?
What
Oh
are you
yeah.
talking about? This room has looked the same forever.
Have
Well,
you
I've
guys
never been in
moved
here
anything in
before.
forever?
Have we what in forever?
Moved anything in here?
Well, when we
Since-
move things, they stay where they go. And I mean, there has been dirt and dust and the ages and things, but nothing has changed really since we starved to death.
Can you leave this room?
Oh no, we cannot do that. No, not without hitching a ride. And she grins at you.
Arthur kind of hesitates and thinks real hard. Maybe we could. I mean... And you can see the thoughts going through his head, like he's visibly thinking about it. Whether to
That's
trust these
probably
children.
not wise.
Because he's
No
first.
offense,
You
but
said you'd do
don't
anything to
consider it.
help us.
Indeed.
She comes up and she gives you the eyes.
And then Ollie kind of pops up all of a sudden from his slumping quietness and kind of flies back into the room and just says, "No, no, no, don't you dare."
I was just about to grab Arthur's, like, part of his armor. I was like, okay, we're getting out of here. Don't take this as any offense, but if need be, we can cross that bridge later.
They could be helpful, but
I do know where
then-
everything is in the house.
and Arthur kind of motions towards her.
You are.
I don't want to go. I want to stay here, Rose. Shut up, Thorn. It could be fun.
It's not going to be fun. I promise you. It's not. You're safer here than you are anywhere else in this house.
I think he's right. I don't want to go out there. What if the monster in the basement gets us? There is no monster in the basement. Mother and father just said that to make us stay out.
Ollie looks visibly
But I
nauseous.
heard it. No,
Fine.
you're just a little baby with too many nightmares. You don't need nightmares anymore, Thorn. Nothing can hurt us.
If I let you possess me, you swear not to harm us and to help us get out of
Nicholas
here?
is going to tug at Arthur's arm right now with that line of thought being
Contested
verbalized.
strength check.
Contested
Yep.
strength check.
And I'm like, come on, it's time to go to the library or anywhere else for this matter. God damn it. I got a 16 total.
Arthur Goodest boy staying strong and firm.
This time, Ollie walks around the party and walks right up to Rose and squats down to get to eye level and just says, plain as day, the monster in the basement needs someone. It will take anyone. If you are in his body at the same time, it will take one or either of you. If you want to stay alive, if you want to stay existing, if you want to be able to leave, you will stay here.
I
Hold
don't
up.
know
I
why
want to
you're
know
so
about
obsessed.
this.
I don't know why you're so obsessed with staying alive. You're already dead. And she vanishes. As does
Aw.
Thorn.
All right, let's have some time to talk about this monster in the basement. What? Tell us what you know.
Arthur finally gets to pull one of the blankets off the bed and cover up the bodies. And you can see he's kind of sulking and trying not to.
And Ollie just kind of hides his face in his hands again. Just goes quiet. um. It might not be the best idea if I shouldn't have said anything.
Well, you did. So now you
Well,
gotta
we're
finish
obviously
it.
gonna have to figure out a way to get so much blood. No. We're gonna have to find a way to get out to this house.
Blanket.
And it's at this point that Ollie pulls his hands away from his face, and stares directly at Nicholas and says, "I know how to leave, but you're not gonna like it, and
And I assume it's gonna involve fighting whatever is in the basement. So might as well stop hiding information from us.
it's okay." And then Ollie kind of stands up and kind of adjusts his clothing a little bit, and just kind of folds his arms and stares at the floor as he talks, trying to he seems very, very anxious as he talks, but he tries to explain as concisely as he can. It's yeah, there's a fight, but that's not how you leave. I didn't tell you this at first because I didn't want to be responsible for the loss of any of you. You shouldn't have come here in the first place, but as we are here,
We have our reasons, and you are not responsible for our actions. Just spill the beans. Getting more irritated as he continues to stumble and be evasive, whether that's intentional or not. Nicholas is not known for patience, and he's trying to be patient.
and you see Ollie just fidgeting the hands at his sides, picking at the seams of his vest, and well, think of it like a river that you cannot cross and you cannot swim, but there's a boat. And thank God there's a boat, because it's the only way out. But, it's not going to be able to hold everybody. Somebody needs to stay behind. And then Ollie just kind of trails off into just the most oppressed laughter you've ever heard, and just kind of rubs his face with a hand.
Arthur walks over and puts his hand on Ollie's shoulder and says in a grave, but trying to say it in a reassuring manner, "If it comes down to that, I will stay behind. You don't have to. You will.
You know, I
You
knew
will
you
be
were
able
gonna
to
say
leave.
that.
In I never even told them what I was doing. I just did it. I never said goodbye. I never said, let me. I never said, I hope you get out. I never said anything. And then, in all the time that I've been in this house, I've been thinking if there was some way that I could possibly have put something else in my place, if there was something else I could do. But for everybody that's ever come in this house, I've never been able to have somebody take my place, and And then at this point, Ollie looks over at Arthur and stares at him seriously and says, "That's why I couldn't let you take the children with you like that. Because it would have taken you or it would have taken them, and they absolutely do not deserve this. They're kind of already experiencing it, but I feel it'd be so much worse for them. I don't know if they would even experience anything if..." And Ollie doesn't finish his sentence. At that point, he just trails off with the if.
Is it also obvious to me that Kira is a member of some sort of faith?
I don't know.
Probably.
Kira, do you have any symbols that are in view?
Nope.
Okay. Well, regarding the children, we do have at least one member of religious persuasion. And if they're good for anything, that's typically aiding those to pass, usually without the need of their spirit possessing them.
Yeah,
to
about
my
that.
knowledge.
Okay, I can cast a spell to lay them to rest. It's gonna take about 25 gold worth of powdered silver, and I didn't think to bring it with me, so unless we find some silver and a real good mortar and pestle in this house, best I can do is just say a few words.
There was there was a silver teacups and stuff downstairs.
This is the house of obviously what was once a richer family, and the house itself I can care less for. I'm sure we
Alright.
can find materials if we can, and some means of grinding up the said material.
And it seems like everything else I touch just fucking turns to dust. So maybe if you just touch the cup, it'll fall to dust.
I'm trusting you with this, Kira. It's a very important job.
Ollie kind of walks towards the door and, passing over the blanketed bodies, kind of tips his head towards them and says, "For the record, that's probably why they can't leave. That's why I can't leave, at least."
Bodies or?
Yeah.
It- Then I look at you very curiously, as like, that's your actual body, is it? Not some very
No.
clever illusion?
No. If I had to hazard a guess, I'm still in the basement.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay,
To
so
get you out of here.
so are we going to the basement first, or are we going to get this silver first?
Or the library. There's a lot of options. Why don't we go... Or I guess Gon should say, why don't we go back down and find this library and then scavenge whatever silver we can along the way.
Let me test something.
It's like a plan.
I want to test something. Is this piece of shit, and then he'll yell out, is this piece of shit house going to intervene with us? Or this hellhole that's useless and has no value whatsoever gonna fuck with us in any way, shape, or form?
And your paint job's ugly too. I'm just trying to help.
Go ahead and roll me perception.
Okay. Oh
think
god,
this
this guy
house-
is betraying me.
That's what happens when you switch to real rolls.
But these are so pretty.
I think that the house is too stupid to let us out anyways. It doesn't even know the own way.
Yeah, no, I am. Yes, this is the string of below 10 rolls, with the exception of that strength check, is proof I'm not fudging now.
You don't seem to hear anything out of the ordinary, just the typical soft creaks and groans of the house that you've already heard.
It's clear that the builders cut some corners, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, I don't hear anything.
It
So
was fun, though.
perhaps this house has a blind spot for this room.
Oh, you want me to go out in the hallway and tell it has an ugly paint job?
Well, remember when I called it a shithole down on the first floor and the entire building rattled?
No, I wasn't paying attention, but I guess that's what made it rattle.
Maybe its ears are on the first level.
I think the closer to the basement you get, the closer to it you get. That's probably why all the way up here, it doesn't really have that much of a reach. For that reason, I'd personally prefer to leave the children here. At least they're safe here. For as safe as they can be.
Oh, then let's go to the
Let's
library.
find this library.
Yeah, let's find answers, and
Hey,
then
Gon?
before we leave, if possible, we can try to help the children pass.
Gon, can you make me a charisma saving throw?
Oh, try. Wait, saving throws are up here. Oh, I actually do have proficiency in that. Yes, I did.
Ooh. Nice.
You feel extremely sad for a minute, like the entire world is out to get you. And then you feel back to yourself again. You have no idea what happened. Hey, Kira, can you also make me a Christmas saving throw?
Damn,
Why
Ollie,
not?
your mood is catching.
And you just feel really angry. Like nobody's listening to you. They need to pay attention and they need to follow you. And then you feel like yourself again, which honestly doesn't feel that much different.
Out of curiosity, I do want to just take a peek at this toy box. Not expecting anything to be in there, but just kind of open it, see if anything
for a
actually
minute.
is in there.
Alright, so you go over to the toy box.
Just casually, like, open it if it's unlocked. If it's not, I won't really bother too much with it.
It's a decorative, very fancy looking chest with pretty little ravens encircling the cover. Looks like it was very expensive to make. It's got golden inlay around the sides of it. As you reach out and unlock the lid with a click, and you raise it up.
Also, if it does look fragile, I will be doing so carefully.
Mhm.
I don't want to piss off children's spirits.
Mhm.
If it looks like it's fragile.
You unlock the lid with a click, and you raise it up. And from within, something springs out at you as a jack-in-the-box bobs in front of your face. It appears to be full of small wooden toys. And if you want to roll a perception check, you can have a closer... an investigation check, you can have a closer look at them.
I like to imagine that Nicholas's
Okay.
tail poofed out, but his face was just perfectly neutral.
How can you tell? He's a Maine Coon. He's always poofed.
Oh, that's right. I am a Maine Coon. I forgot we made that distinction. Where is my investigation?
Perfection.
It is an 18 total.
Okie doke. So you look through it, and you see several very nicely carved wooden figures. Some of them seem to be very, very old, almost falling apart. The features worn away. Some of them a bit newer. And then you find one that looks like an upright cat with a very floofy fur carved hither and yon in a very nice suit coat. Serious expression. Huh. That's a pretty good likeness.
Uncanny resemblance.
And another
Is
glance
there-
shows a wolven-like a woven-like creature in very nice dark paladin armor. And then there's a tiefling with long, sweeping hair, hands on hips in a cocky poise, a grin that looks almost forced upon their features. Then there's another tall humanoid with kind of sloppily dressed, almost like a drunken bum that crawled into a tavern one night. There's another gentleman in almost bardly clothes, with a very nice hat with a little feather sticking out of it. Might be an elf, might be something else. Very, very odd, very different. You're not quite sure. But all of them look, well, exactly like you and your party currently. And they are all the newest carved figurines within the box.
It's not creepy at all.
I'm going to take mine and hand the one that looked like Arthur to him. And grab the one that looks like Gon. He doesn't fairly much care for too much for the other two.
I mean,
And then he's grabbing the ones that thinking, well, if Arthur wants to roll insight on him, kind of get a guess of what he's running through his mind.
I shall. Yeah, no.
I
Arthur is
figured you might-
completely preoccupied by studying the miniature him.
Yeah, it looks very nice, very intricately carved. Somebody has taken a paintbrush and kind of gave it some dry brushing effect. You're kind of poised, with your shield on one arm, and you've got your weapon in the other hand, and your
Don't
mouth
carry a
is kind
shield.
of
I don't
open a
carry a
little
shield.
bit, with your tongue kind of peeping out just a bit, and you're going. It's really nice. Whoever did this, very good.
Yeah, I'll just say you may want to keep a hold of that. Just, I got a hunch. Might be wise to keep a hold of these. And then he'll take the one of his and the one of Gon's out with him.
Are you sure it's okay to take it? And he's like studying it and walking after Nicholas, like half on autopilot.
I'm almost certain these
The
do
children-
not belong to the children. Especially with how freshly made these are and that they look exactly like us. And then hands the
You're
one of
certain,
Gon to Gon.
What
Ollie
you
kind
got?
of
Oh
glances
shit!
over his shoulder and just
Found this
squints.
curious item in there. You may want to hold on to it. If the other two want to grab theirs, feel free.
Did you
It's
steal?
up to you guys.
Did you steal toys from the children? From the
They're
Both-
not toys, Ollie. They're action figures.
If they truly belong to them,
They're replicate
Why would-
miniatures. Gosh.
holding up the one that looks like him, if they truly belong to the children, how the hell would they know where we... How the hell do you explain this, holding up his?
I
There's
don't know.
one of you in there
Souvenirs
as
for when
well.
we don't make it out of here.
There's one of you as well, and that drunkard too.
Yeah, I'd call that souvenirs. You know, for when we fail and don't get out of here.
Well, then they'll know that it didn't leave the house if we do fail. And thus technically don't leave their possession.
Yeah, justifying theft from children. Cool, got it. And then Ollie, bitter as hell, is just gonna step out the door and go downstairs.
Gon is hastily shoving his in the very, very, very bottom of his bag.
I'm glad I'm not the only one with that thought process of something being voodoo-like going on there. And looks back, curious at the other doors, but realizes safety in numbers right now, and follows.
I don't really know where the library's at. Like, I know that the person showed me where it's at, but is it on this
Second floor. We skipped
Opposite
it.
the ballroom.
Second floor. So do
Down. Or
We're
down.
going down, down in an earlier round.
and each time we're passing somewhere, I'm carefully
Down,
eyeing any
down,
doors
down.
we pass or anything. And basically, wherever we go walk through, I'm carefully eyeing it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if that would have required a perception check or not.
Down, down to Goblin Town.
Down to Hades Town.
Right.
Way down,
Library.
down, way down.
Down to Hades Town. That was amazing to go see in New York.
Opens door.
You've seen it. That's
Yeah, it
cool.
was so
I
fun.
actually prefer the concept album. So I want to see a musical live once upon a time.
I got to see Wicked and The Lion King.
Oh
Did
yeah,
you
I
see
saw
it with
those.
Adina Menzel?
No, it was her understudy.
Oh, that's a shame.
It
But
was
I'm sure they
supposed to
were
be
also
her.
great.
It was supposed to be
Aw.
her, but they announced the change at the last minute.
Okay.
Aww. So.
So Kira
You go that
immediately
way,
goes to this door, which
Yeah.
he remembers is the correct door from having stared at the book for so long. I'm sorry, not the book, the
The dollhouse,
fake
and then
dollhouse for so
destroying it.
long. There are red velvet drapes hanging on countless thick stained glass windows that overlook the world beyond. An exquisite mahogany desk and matching high-back chair sit in the center of the room, with several large, comfortable armchairs surrounding. There is a plush rug that has beautiful woven images of flames and flowers throughout it. A fire crackles merrily in the fireplace. The second floor, in far better repair and looking as though it has been lived in very recently here. You see rows and rows of bookcases stuffed full of tomes. There are even small piles of books on the ground, as if needing to be put back away. There's a rolling wooden ladder that moves along the shelves themselves, allowing for interested parties to access the higher levels. And a framed picture of a windmill atop a rocky crag is over the mantelpiece.
Windmill. Arthur's going to check out the books.
Okie dokie. Roll investigation for me.
I'm gonna take a look at the book on the table here too.
There are
No,
several
I
books
closed
on the
it.
table, but you can just roll an investigation check on the desk as a whole.
What's on
Yeah.
the desk/table there?
So many things. Roll an investigation check to see what you find.
All right, give me a moment. I'm AFK momentarily, but I have my wireless headset.
Ollie's gonna look around for
If you
anything
can,
that
you
looks
can roll it for
like,
me.
that looks like it might be silver. Would that be perception or investigation?
Investigation to investigate the room for things that look like silver.
We can't find shit.
Great.
I'll look at books.
Seriously, there are terrible rolls. What the fuck?
Well, Gan, the good news is, it's investigation that you should roll.
Oh. So probably
Oh,
worse.
guys, you can do it, please.
Can I give myself guidance?
Go for it.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
how does this work? 7 minus 1. Okay.
Now, see, if we had been helping each other investigate the same thing, we would have done it because it would have been, advantage.
You
With
know,
20, 16, 19, 15.
For a group called the Scooby Gang, you guys are really bad at finding clues. Maybe the
Okay,
gang
guys,
should
let's
split
split up and search for clues, and instead of helping each
Can
other.
we regroup and try to do this a bit more methodically?
Yeah,
after...
you guys are trying to search the library, but you're also shaken. You just can't, like, you're not really even seeing things.
Oh.
You don't know where to start. You're just casting
Okay.
your eyes over stuff. What was that?
So I just got back to my desk and rolled, and I got a natural 20 for a 21.
And then
Hey!
Nicholas just shakes his head and throws his paws up in the air, like, guys, come on, come on. And he kind of ushers you all to kind of just like sit down, take a chill pill in the chairs, on the rug, whatever. Just let him handle this. Just let him handle this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so excited
Ollie's
for
just
that
gonna sit
natural
on the
20.
rug.
Yeah, so excited
I-
for that natural 20.
Arthur kind of offers to hold the books that catch Nicholas's eyes. Like just
What am I looking
All
Ollie's
right.
be an
just
extra
in the
shelf.
corner.
So on the desk itself, Nicholas, you find a couple of things. There is an oil lamp, a jar of ink, a quill pen, a tinder box, and a letter writing kit containing several pieces of very expensive looking paper, heavy envelopes made of velium, and a red wax seal and a candle. There is also the seal itself, looks like it bears the insignia of the windmill that you have just seen all over the place in this house.
I don't know if I tried to roll this before, or if anyone else has, but is there like a history or an ability or something kind of check to see if that rings any bells with this windmill
So
that's
you can
everywhere?
definitely try, but you've never
tried,
been to
yeah.
Barovia.
Yeah, I think we tried, and it's just like the local thing.
Okay, I didn't know if we tried or not yet.
Somebody rolled a history check on the windmill itself, and what they found out was that it looks like it's a family crest, but not one you're familiar with.
Okay.
Alright, so having mostly finished looking through the desk, you're about to walk away when you see kind of glint around one of the drawers, and you scooch back to it again and narrow your eyes. And you stick a claw in there and pry open a small panel. And you find a very small opening in the desk, which seems to contain a single large iron key.
Oh, shit.
And did you want to investigate the books as well, or just the desk?
I would grab the key. That was investigating, I guess, the desk, seeing the paper, the wax seal, and pen, quill, all that writing stuff. Which, could that, if like packaged and made into a kit, be a proper forgery kit or no?
I would say it doesn't seem to have the tools specific to forgery itself. It's definitely a writer's kit, though.
Okay. I think I'll take it regardless.
Okay.
If
You
I'm-
start shoving the items into your bag.
Yeah. And keeping the keys somewhere a little bit more handy though, in case we find somewhere that it could go to. And that's all that was in the drawer.
That's all that was in the tiny secret drawer.
Alright. I'll start investigating the books. Is that a separate roll?
Yes, because you said you were specifically investigating the desk before.
Yep.
I will help.
Okay.
Okay.
Arthur
So-
looms
Advantage.
over you, helping.
Thank you for helping because that was a 7 on the die.
Oh, so it's with
And-
advantage.
Yep. Oh, the 7 on the die was a better one.
Okay.
So investigation, that's an 8 total.
Oh, lovely. There sure are a lot of books.
Can Arthur give it another try?
I need to time out just one moment here, and I need to draw your attention to the scene that's happening over in the armchairs here, because there is currently a swoon off in these chairs. Ollie's
Oh,
draping
God.
one way, Ghana's draping the other. They changed position. Somebody's got their legs over the back of the chair, their torso is like arced artfully onto the floor. Ollie's tossing
Ghana
hair
is
this
nuts.
way. Gan is adjusting hat jauntily over one eye. They're having a swag off here in these chairs. Just so you're all aware.
Is that a spelling typo or is that intentional, Gone?
There was a typo.
Where?
The type of gay or type of guy?
Nope.
Oh,
That
that's intentional.
That's
Gays,
intentional.
gays
Okay.
sit properly.
That's why I was like, well, guy, gay, maybe. I don't know.
He's probably bi, but I haven't really thought about it that hard.
Bygone
that's fine.
energy. Bygone energy.
By God.
Pink Girl 20.
Bye, I'm gone.
Pink Girl 20 died for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Type of gay who does not know how to sit properly.
Yeah.
Best type of gay.
Best
There's the
type
gays
of
who
gay.
can't drive, the gays who can't do math, the gays who can't sit.
The gays who can't avoid making their party members suffer terrible fates as they DM the game. Yep.
Oh, is that an invitation to start drawing?
That's really funny that you think that I don't have just like pictures in my head already of what I'm gonna do later. You saw the thing of Sergeant Major Lerosaur I made, right?
I'm talking about drawing on the map.
Oh, no, bad. No, I will smack your hand. Is there a thing I can do that prevents you from doing that? I will find
I
out.
don't think so.
There's gotta be. It's gotta be in like settings or some shit. Let's see.
Wait a minute. I know what I'm gonna do. I know what I'm gonna do.
Help Arthur search the books. Maybe this time we can find something. Arthur is like obsessed with books because he grew up in a monastery with all the books. Like most of his knowledge is kind of
Upturned your wrist
theoretical.
clean across his forehead. Scarlet, I do declare. The fuck I can't.
I found a key.
I'm going to murder all of you. The books suddenly spring to life, flying from the shelves and beginning to beat some sense into y'all.
Arthur is going to start going through the books one by one.
Okay, Arthur, you begin to go through the books one by one, finding them to be completely out of order of the Dewey Decimal System. As you are,
It's terrible.
your
It's the
OC,
worst.
your OCD causes you to have to run around putting them back in order every time you find one out of place. They seem to have topics including history, warfare, alchemy. There's several first edition works of poetry and fiction that look quite old and quite expensive, but not old in the way that the rest of the house had been rotting when you found it. Rather old in an upkept, very stewardly sort of way, which is vastly disconcerting given the state of the book's organizational method. You don't seem to understand why they are like this. And as you run around, you find there's a bunch of romance novels completely out of place in this area over here. Why in the history portion have you found a book entitled Stratty Dotty? That features a very languished looking pale gentleman, his shirt front completely open, dribbling a glass of what is hopefully red wine over him.
Wait, what?
As a buxom elven woman, all in white,
No.
peers gently from around a corner with her fingers to her lips in a "oh darest I" sort of pose. That doesn't go there. It obviously goes in this corner over here with all the other odd books, like A Fur and Fang Volume 2. And as you rush to put it back in its aforementioned spot, you hear a loud click as the bookcase seems to pivot slightly on its end. You have found a secret bookcase door.
You solved the DM's Dewey Decimal System puzzle.
Secret tunnel.
Through the bookcase! Secret porn tunnel!
Oh my god, I'm gonna get the stomachache.
Okay, so Yeah,
So,
Ollie's gonna stand up now and be like, hey guys, what?
porn!
You see Arthur.
Arthur has like half an armload of romance novels.
You see one that appears to just be an extremely buxom goblin woman who is gently cupping the chin of a nondescript human. You can't really tell what gender they are, but they have startlingly blue eyes and sweeping brown hair, and their noses are inches apart. And the title is "In the Grips of Goblin Love." He stares at you, caught red-handed, with these words.
So you're making our party a bunch of perverts. Got it.
I mean, I'm not making you keep the books.
Yeah, Ollie's gonna try
Has
with more
Arthur
silver
seen-
again.
Has Arthur seen Nicholas take the other book? Because he might pass the volume 2 to him.
I don't believe that you were awake during that time. Nobody knows
Yeah.
he's got that book.
What a pity.
Except for maybe Gon. He was the only one awake watching him read it.
Was I?
But you were on watch, so you weren't specifically watching him read it, but you know he had a book. You
Oh,
know he put it in
yeah.
the bag.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what he saw, but I do know he was, and he said something about Sebastian. That's what
Sebastian will like this.
Gon. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what Gon gleaned from that situation.
Oh, I know. Arthur will call out, is it Fur and Fangs or?
Fur and Fang Volume 2?
Volume 2. Where is Volume 1?
Who
I
knows?
can't find it in this mess.
Oh wait, are you trying to delete my I found a key?
Yes.
There, happy.
Yes. Fuck you.
I'll just type it somewhere like in a text box.
Okay. So, Arthur, what you doing?
Oh, I'm opening the door. Trying to balance the romance books still in my arms.
Alright, so you slowly open the door, peering into the dark. Inside this room, there appears to be a couple of other bookcases. These ones a lot. I will fucking kill you. These ones a lot older and covered with a thin layer of dust. Not quite as decrepit as the other layers of the house itself, but it appears this room has not been opened in quite some time. At the far end, you see a chest that appears to be half open, and draped across that chest, as your wolven eyes adjust to the scene, is... God damn it, I hate this. There we go. Draped across the chest as your wolven eyes adjust is the desiccated body of some humanoid hanging half in, half out of the chest. And that's where we're going to end it for the night.
Oh yeah, did anyone ever find silver?
Oh, you did not actually find anything of silver in this room. You found several things
yet.
that were made of gold, no silver.
Alright.
They seem to have more of a gold motif, really.
We did find silver in the bedroom that we rested in.
You did. There was a silver tea set in the bedroom that now has a desiccated, bloodied tiger rug. Anywho, thank you all for watching this evening. We had quite a lot of viewers today, and I am so very happy that you could come and watch with us today. Stay tuned. This is our 30-minute break here, and I will be back in 30 minutes at 8:30 for our second Curse of Strahd group of the night. It is our other crew who is also in the Death House. These are the Slasher Squad. Completely different dimension. Think alternate planes of dread, all that fun stuff. Completely different. Don't worry. This is not a two groups in the same house situation. Trust me. completely different houses. But anywho,
Do we, if we cast if we can see into ethereal plane or whatever, do we see our alter egos?
you see only madness and despair. Just like me, if I don't get to go to the bathroom like in 2 seconds. So, from all of us here at Curses, also maybe Vampires, we truly appreciate seeing you, and you can see this group again at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, not this coming Sunday, but the one right after. And you can come listen to our other group and our other session, along with 2 of the guys of this one, in about 30 minutes. Alrighty, we love you and goodbye!
Bye.